Welcome back to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and today we have another special guest. We're going to be chatting with Maraya, and she is located in the Netherlands, so she has a very unique and Dutch name. To me, it's very unique and beautiful, and she also has two turquoise green cheek conures. One of them is a yellow-sided conure, and they are so adorable. She also has a bronze-winged Pionus. I hope I'm saying that right. And so we're going to dive into what it's like to have her flock at home, and she's going to share some really cool ideas for her bird room and some really cool ideas that I saw her share on Instagram. So we're going to chat about that and so much more. So let's jump in with Maraya. You have your Christmas tree.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love it. I have my Christmas tree here too, but I haven't dressed it up yet. So I think after the podcast, I'm going to dress it up because it looks so pretty.
Yes, and look, I have all these kinds of parrots in my tree.
Oh
Wait, this is
God.
the best one.
Where did you get these parrot ornaments?
Well, I got them at random stores in the Netherlands, so I can't really say it's all random stores.
Oh my gosh, I have to go shopping and find some. Those are so cute. I want all parrot ornaments. I want to have a parrot Christmas tree.
That's my goal. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How was your day and your drive home from work?
Yeah, it was a long day again, but it's fine. I was really excited about the podcast. I also listened to your previous one on my way home, so.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's awesome. I know it's great. Podcasts are great because you can listen to it in the car. You don't always have to watch the video. You can, follow along no matter what you're doing. So that's great. I love hearing that.
Yes.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and tell us your social media handles and a little bit about your birds. What types of birds do you have? How old are they and what are their names?
So my name is Marije. I'm from the Netherlands. So my English might not be that good because it's been a long time since I've talked English. So I'm sorry for my English. And yeah, I'm 24 years old and I have 3 parrots, 2 green cheek conures and 1 Pionus. And my green cheek conures are Yoshi and Winnie. And my Pionus parrot is Pino. And yeah, maybe some of you know me from Instagram because my Instagram is Yoshi green cheek conure, GCC.
Yeah. the short form of green cheek conure.
Yeah.
And Yoshi and Winnie, are they both turquoise green cheek conures?
Yeah, Yoshi's
one of them I think is yellow-sided.
Yeah, Winnie is yellow-sided and Yoshi's the normal turquoise. Yeah.
Okay, because Winnie reminds me a lot of Mia, because Mia's also a yellow-sided turquoise conure. Definitely. So I always look at your conures and I'm like, they're so cute. But I'm biased because I love turquoise green cheek conures.
Yes, me too. I love turquoise the most. I don't know. They're so cute.
I know, me too. I really dreamed about having a turquoise green cheek conure because turquoise is my favorite color of all time, like for my entire life. So I always wanted a turquoise green cheek, but I fell in love with conures and now I'm like, I want to be the crazy conure later. Sorry. I want to be the crazy conure lady. And my husband's like, oh no, we're going to have a huge bird room with every type of conure. And I'm like, yeah, that's my dream.
Not just the turquoise anymore. All of them.
Yeah, all of them. Because conures are just so cute. I just love their little faces and their personalities. But I wanted to know a little bit more about a Pionus. Is that how you say it?
I think so. In Dutch, we say Pionus.
Okay, so Pionus. I was like, I don't know if I'm saying this right.
Me neither. I'm just saying whatever sounds English, but Pionus is what I say in English. Yeah, you wanted to know more about Pino?
Yeah, like what is his personality like? What is it like to have a little bit of a bigger bird? Does he get along with the green cheeks? Tell me everything.
Well, I always wanted a bronze-winged Pionus. That's the exact species of Pino. But I was in the beginning, I already wanted one, but I was like, I should start with a smaller bird. It felt safer because I didn't have any experience with birds yet. And for me, a Pionus was really big. even though right now I think he's the smallest boy ever. But I thought he was so big. So I started with green cheek conures, and then when I was very confident with them, I was like, yeah, I can handle a Pionus. But little did I know that a Pionus is way easier than those green cheek conures.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because Pino is so calm and easy, and it's like the total opposite of a normal parrot. Like, he doesn't destroy my house, he doesn't make a mess, he doesn't make a noise. He's so easy. Like, he will just go in his cage when he needs to. Yeah, I don't know, he's so easy, I swear. Yeah, but of course every bird is different. But yeah, I feel like I have a friend, and he also had 2 Pionus parrots, and he also says he has a lot of birds, and he's like, yeah, my Pionus parrots are so easy, and they never make a problem. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what is their like loudness level like? Like, does Pino get really loud? Can he be louder than the green cheeks, or is he not very noisy at all?
Pino, in my case, he's not noisy at all. He can be loud. I have another friend. She has a Pionus. Her Pionus is quite loud. But Pino has never made so much noise as her. So yeah, maybe it's just Pino, but in my experience, he's not loud at all. He only talks. So when he calls me, he also he says kusje, which means kiss. So that's our language in the whole house. Also, the green cheek conures always scream kusje. And that's the way
so
we call
cute.
each other. Yeah. So when I'm upstairs, Pino will be like, kusje, kusje. So that's the only thing, but it's adorable. Like, I cannot even think it's annoying or loud or anything. It's so cute. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way with Mia when she says her name. So she learned to say her name, and that's how she gets my attention. If she knows that, like, you know, I'm in the other room and she wants my attention, she'll start saying Mia, Mia, Mia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so cute. So immediately I run to her.
Yeah, because it's just too cute. Yeah.
I know. And I've been trying to teach her to say I love you. So every day I'm like to her face, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And the day she says I love you back, I think I will like melt to the floor.
Yes, I can tell you that you will, because Pino also says I love you, but in Dutch. So every time he says it, I'm always crying.
Oh my God. That's like the best feeling as a bird mom. Mia, do you hear that?
Come on, you should say it too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so having a Pionus is very different than having green cheek conures. They seem to be a lot calmer, cleaner, and quieter.
Yeah, maybe it's just Pino, but the thing about a bigger bird is that he used to be clipped with his previous owners. So he wasn't good at flying when he came to my place. He gets better every time. Right now, I would say he's a perfect flyer, but he's still insecure about landing. So he only has a few landing spots that he feels comfortable with. And those are his cage, his play tree, his other play tree, and me and the couch. So it's only like a few places where he will fly to. And I think that's why he's not very messy, because it's all of those places are meant for him. So it's okay if he poops there. And if he makes a mess there, it's okay. But like my green cheek conures, they fly everywhere. They fly on top of the door, on top of paintings, on top of everything. So I think that's what makes it easier about him. But I'm still not sure if he will get more comfortable in the future and will land on different areas. I think that's very possible, because I've only had him for 2 years, I think. So there's still a lot that can happen, but right now he's so easy.
Oh, that's so lovely. So you said that his wings were clipped. Have his flight wings all grown back in?
Yeah, already when I adopted him from his previous owners, I'm not sure if they were if they meant to let them grow back, but he only missed like 3 feathers in each wing. So it was very quick when he came to me that he lost all of his clipped feathers and grew back his good ones. Yeah.
Oh, and so when you brought him home, is there something that you were doing to help him get more comfortable and more confident with flying? Like maybe diet or any like tricks that you were doing to help him like build those muscles?
Well, Pino was very shy when he came to me. For me, it was very different from the Conures because they were like from day one, they were chaos, and they haven't had a period where they were shy. Well, Winnie, the first hour that he was at my place, but it's really different from Pino. Like he really needed at least 6 months to get more comfortable. And
Wow.
in the beginning, I couldn't even handle him a treat. Like he would not accept it from me. So like I was never able to train him in the beginning. I did some target training, but he didn't do it for the treat. So after a while I was like, well, I'm not gonna train him until he's comfortable with me and he accepts treats. And then when that period came, he already started practicing flying by himself. So I never really trained him to fly. He just practiced by himself, and yeah, he loves going to me. So I think his motivation to hang out with me was what got him to fly, because he still doesn't do recall training. Like I cannot call him and he will come. I
Really?
haven't been able to do that yet.
Is it because do you think he's not confident or he's like too scared to land on your hand?
I think, yeah, he's not used to land on my hand yet. He will go to my shoulder, but I cannot do it on command yet. Uh, he always does it randomly.
Oh, well, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, I feel like with parrots, like they're very finicky that way. Like you have to really be patient
Yeah,
and just keep being consistent with them and persistent and doing it over and over and over and over again. Like with me,
yeah,
I do recall training, but there are specific treats that I have to use when training because
yeah,
I know she'll be
mhm,
motivated by them. And one
yeah.
of them is banana. So I don't give her banana
Oh,
regularly because she loves banana. So whenever I'm having a banana and I know she wants it, I'm like, this is an opportunity for me to do some recall training or any kind of training because she'll go crazy for banana. So yeah,
yeah,
it also, I think, really is important to find like the right treats that your bird is motivated by when it comes to training.
yeah.
Um,
That's really true. Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, so Pino, you adopted, and how did you find him?
I found him on the Dutch marketplace. It's kind of similar to Craigslist, I think.
Okay.
So it's like a platform where people can sell their stuff. And there were a couple who sold their Pionus Parrots. I was always on marketplace finding Pionus Parrots because I really wanted to adopt one. And yeah, then there he was, and I went to their house just to have a look, and then I came home with him, of course.
Oh, and
Yeah.
how did you get Yoshi and Winnie? Are they adopted as well?
No, they are not adopted, and I already want to say I honestly I don't like the way how I got them. Right now I don't support the bird trade at all. I don't feel comfortable with the bird trade. It makes me sick in my stomach. Um, but back then, I thought that a first bird was very difficult, and a rehomed bird was really difficult, I thought. So I had to start with one that was already tame and everything. That's how I felt. So I got Yoshi from a hobby breeder, which is still okay in my opinion, but I wouldn't do it anymore right now. I would rather adopt. But he was, at least he was parent raised, which is something I really support. In the Netherlands, it's actually illegal to hand raise birds.
Oh,
Yeah, that's something I heard in your previous podcast, that you were like, yeah, you should get a bird that's already weaned by the breeder. But
yeah.
in the Netherlands, this is illegal because it's not good for the emotional well-being of a bird. Like he needs his bird mom to yeah to how do you call it, to raise the
To
bird.
raise him and to feed him. But by weaning, what I was referring to is that they're already eating solid foods so that you don't have to give them formula or worry about the
Yeah,
parent feeding them. So when you
yeah,
get a
that's
weaned bird, then you don't have to worry about also having the parents or having to hand feed the formula. By
yeah,
having a bird that's already weaned, you know that like you can make them fresh chop, you can give them pellets, and you can get them on a
yeah,
good diet without having to worry about that step.
yeah. But in the Netherlands, it's also important that they're weaned by their own parents and not by the breeder. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah, that's something that was important for me. So well, back then it wasn't that I didn't know this yet, actually. So it was on accident that I got Yoshi, and he was parent raised. And then after 3 months, I decided I wanted to get him a friend. So I was looking for a new bird. And back then, I was a really big fan of a certain parrot store in the Netherlands, and I really wanted my bird from there. But I don't really support that parrot store anymore. So I wouldn't recommend getting a bird from a parrot store, at least not in the Netherlands. Like,
I
I
don't
feel
think
like every
anywhere.
what?
I don't think anywhere. I don't support it
No,
either because they're
yeah,
not living in good conditions. And there's so many pet stores that people are reaching out to and emailing and writing petitions and
yeah,
are trying to do something about it. But I also don't really like supporting pet stores like that either because they're just treating them like a thing when they're living beings, you know?
yeah. And the difference why I thought it was good is because it was a parrot store, so it wasn't a pet store, and it was a very passionate man who has the pet at the parrot store. And because there was a lot of knowledge about parrots, I thought it was a good place. But still, they get their parrots from weird breeders and big breeders. And so yeah, I really don't like it. And they also hand feed the baby birds. They just do it like they have like 20 baby conures, and they just put like the food in there. I don't like it. So I don't support where I got my conures. So that's why after them I only want to adopt, and that's why I also adopted Pino. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. But Yoshi and Winnie are really lucky to be with you because they have such a good life now. And
Thank
Pino is
you.
also really lucky to be with you. And I'm on the same page with you. We got Mia from a very reputable and a very good breeder. And
Mhm.
when I was looking to get a turquoise green cheek conure, I really did my research. I wanted to make sure that like everything was prim and proper. And she is like really an amazing breeder, and she provides them with such a good diet and good care and all these different things. So we were really happy with that. But the other thing that was important to me is that I also had like all of her paperwork and all of that stuff as well. So that was something
Yeah.
that was important to me. But going forward, I also want to adopt. And I've talked about this before because we definitely want to grow our flock.
Mhm.
And I want Mia to have a friend and then probably more friends. But
Yeah.
I do want to make sure that our next bird is adopted because there are so many birds that need
So
homes.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many. It's
Yeah, and there's so many people
insane.
that like will walk into a pet store and they'll get a bird and not really know what they're getting themselves into. And
Yeah,
then, once that bird hits puberty or they're tired of it, or,
yeah,
when people get pets for Christmas and then
yeah,
after a few months, they're like, I don't know what I'm doing or I don't want this. Then they put it
yeah.
up on these websites or these adoption groups. So there's really a lot of birds that need really good homes.
Yeah, and when I bought Yoshi, I was like, yeah, adopting birds is difficult because they're always difficult birds with a big history. But the thing is, most birds are rehomed because the owners didn't have time, or they don't like it anymore, or it's too much energy, too much money. It's not
Too
always, it's
loud.
almost never the bird's fault. So most rehomed birds are really good and nice birds, and it's even easier because you already know the personality a little bit. And yeah, it's really not that different or difficult.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that there's a lot you make a really good point because there's like a huge misconception around how,
Yeah.
when you adopt a bird, they're going to be difficult and they're going to have issues and a history.
Yeah.
But that's not always necessarily true. And even if they do have some kind of history or behavioral issues, it probably stems from the owner not understanding body language, not understanding how to train, how to provide enrichment, and all these different
Yeah.
things. And that's why those behavioral issues are there. And if you work with those issues through it with your bird, then they'll, be able to resolve them, and they've got a really great personality.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you what sparked your interest in parrots? Like,
Mhm.
I know you're 24 years old, and I want to know, like, when were you like, I want birds? I'm going to be a crazy bird lady.
Yeah. Well, my reason is pretty boring. Well, I grew up with no pets, and my parents are not really the pet kind of people. And I always really wanted pets. I always felt so connected to animals. So since I was young, I was always watching YouTube videos about every kind of pet you can think of, like rabbits, hamsters, reptiles. I love watching reptiles videos. And then one day I saw a video about parrots. I think it was from Marlene McCohen. And I just fell in love immediately. And ever since then, I only watched parrot videos. And yeah, it was the only thing I watched on YouTube, parrot videos. Um, so yeah, I also did a lot of research thanks to that. But it started with, yeah, bird videos.
That's awesome. Actually, you bring up a really good point, and I think that since we were talking about, adoption and getting a bird and getting into birds, I think another thing that's really important to do before bringing a bird home, or once you've decided that you want a bird, is to do a lot of research. Watch
Yeah.
all the videos, especially the species that you're interested in specifically. Watch videos, read information online, talk to people who have the type of bird you have, find out what their diet is, what their temperament is, like biting, puberty, hormones. There's just so much to learn. And I feel like even though I've been a bird mom for all these years, I'm constantly learning and finding out
Yeah.
something new.
Definitely. And I actually, when I decided I wanted a bird, I wrote a little um, hand book for myself. So I made a Word
You're so
document with,
cute.
yeah, because I just wanted to make sure I did it right. And because I knew from all the videos I watched that it can be difficult to have birds. So I really wanted to be prepared. So I was like, I'm gonna write myself a handbook.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of reptiles, since you mentioned that,
Hmm.
my first pets in life were reptiles, actually. I had a
Oh,
turtle,
nice.
and then I had a bearded dragon.
Oh,
And other
adorable.
than that, I've had fish. And then
Ooh,
we got Lambo, our dog, and then we got into parrots. And I can definitely say from those experiences that parrots are just like a whole different ball game. Like
yeah,
there's so much more to them. And like, it's just such a specific type of pet that you really have to prepare yourself
yeah,
for what it's like to have a bird. And there's a lot of lifestyle changes that you have to make as well, like
yeah, a
even in your
lot.
home and your
Yeah.
routine and all these different things.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think it's maybe one of the pets where you have to change your lifestyle the most because there's so many dangers for parrots, like
Yeah.
fumes and candles and just everything.
Yeah. And another thing is like that I've become really paranoid about is like what doors and windows are open. We got
Yes.
nets on all of our windows so I can breathe easy if someone cracks the window open. But like
Yeah.
with the doors, I always like before we open the door, I need to make sure that Mia's like secure somewhere or she's like in a room with the door
Yes.
closed or in her cage because you
Always.
never want to have a situation where your bird flies out because I hear about that
No.
happening a lot too. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things to think about. Our dog, if someone's at the door, no problem. I can open the door. He's not running away
Exactly.
anywhere,
Yeah,
But if Mia
exactly.
was to get out the door, that would be terrifying.
You always have to be mindful of everything you do. Like every step you take in your own house, you have to be mindful of your bird. So it can be really, really, yeah, heavy.
Yeah, I've talked about this on several episodes before where you have to like think about, getting rid of Teflon pans if you have them, and candles and perfumes and all this kind of stuff. And like, I don't even use spray deodorants or anything like that. It's only the roll-ons. And
Yes.
I don't use hairspray or any products like that because I want to make sure that the air quality is really good. But there's
Mm,
also other things you have to think about. Like if you want to paint your home, you can't just have your birds at home to paint your home. The
yeah.
chemicals that you're using to clean your home, you have to be really mindful of that. We
Yes.
switched all of our stuff. I only use like vinegar and water and lemon juice basically to
Mm,
clean everything. So there's so many different things that you have to think about and consider when you're getting a parrot because they are really sensitive.
yeah, definitely. Even with the oven and just cooking everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. They can't be in the kitchen when you're cooking. Yeah,
No.
oh, even certain house plants, like you have to make sure that each plant that you have in your home is safe because there's also a lot of
Yeah.
ones that are toxic. If they chew on them, they can vomit, they can die. Like it's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I know I slid into your DMs and we started chatting because I loved the idea that you posted, and this was a few weeks back, about the perch with
Oh
the
yeah.
skewer through it. And then
Mhm.
you put toy parts on it. And I was like, that's brilliant because
I
now on that perch, yes,
look,
exactly.
I
That's
got it with me.
perfect. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tell me how you crafted this, where you got everything. I know you told me, but tell everybody because I love this idea.
Yeah, so I actually got this idea from my friend, my own little zoo. So shout out to her. And yeah, it's basically, this skewer is from the brand Villa Vilu. It's a Dutch-based brand. And yeah, when you buy it on the website, it says that you can drill a hole in a perch that is 5 millimeters big. And if you drill the hole, like you can see it here,
Yeah.
then you can just put this skewer inside. And of course, you can always use different stainless steel skewers, and just make sure that the hole is tiny enough to make it like very sturdy. Um, but yeah, it's really nice because I really realized my birds don't really like hanging toys. They don't play with them enough. And with this kind of toy, they can so easily play with it. They can just stand on the perch and chew on it. And I think they really love how sturdy it is because it doesn't wiggle and it doesn't get away from them. They can just, yeah, chew very nicely. So yeah, it's a really nice idea. It's the favorite toys of all my birds.
I know, I love it. I was telling my husband, I'm like, we need to buy these. We need to do this. You need to drill all these holes because I'm
Yeah.
not a handy woman. But I love this because you can get different types of toy parts. And like for
Yeah.
Mia, for example, she loves cork and soft types of toys. So I
Mm-hmm.
can get these softer pieces. Pino is showing us
Chew.
how it's done. Thank you, Pino. Wow, what a great perch.
Yeah.
He is so cute. But yeah, I love it because you can always switch up the toys. Once they destroy them, you just keep the
Yes,
skewer and you change the toys. Another
exactly.
thing that I was thinking is,
Mm,
as a form of like food enrichment, you could also make like a skewer with some veggies, maybe
yeah,
some sliced
definitely.
peppers or carrot and
Mhm.
broccoli, maybe some fruit. And
Yeah,
that's a nice way for them to also have a meal. And because it's
definitely.
stainless steel, it's easy to clean, and stainless steel is the safest metal to have for your
Yes,
birds.
definitely. So I would always make sure it's stainless steel, especially if you're going to put food on it, so it doesn't get rusty on the food. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But
That's
do you
another
know?
thing to add
Yeah.
is when you have a bird, you have to be really careful with the types of metals that you have in your home and what
Mhm.
metal materials you're offering them, because some of them can be toxic, some of them rust, and yeah,
Yeah.
stainless steel is probably the safest one.
Yeah. Stainless steel and aluminum. I
Yeah,
don't know.
aluminum is also a
Yeah.
safe one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to go and purchase those. And I think you said, just for anybody listening, because you said that they do have international shipping, it was
Yeah.
parrotbirdsupplies.com that you bought them from, right?
I think bird. Wait. Now I'm yeah, maybe Parrots and Bird Supplies. Yeah, that's the right word. Yeah. They just changed their
parrotbirdsupplies.com.
name. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really great store, and they also sell toy parts, so you can also immediately yeah, get all the parts to fill it up with.
And the parts that you got, do they already have a hole through them so you can just slide it on?
If you buy it from her, they already have a hole in it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Yes, but I
awesome.
usually buy my parts from random stores and I drill holes in them myself. But it's easier if you buy it through her.
And I
Yeah.
also noticed that we have the same Montana cage and we have the same Trixie stand.
Oh, nice. That's
So
true.
you have good taste in cages and bird stands.
Yes, you too.
But I wanted to talk about this Trixie stand a little bit because I saw that your setup was a little different than mine, and I change it up every so often. It's never always the same because then that's just boring. And I wanted to ask you, what do you do like in your parrots' cages or on their bird stands to make them like really engaging, enriching, and fun?
Well, then I come back to the previous advice. I even drill holes in my play stands to, yeah, to make sure that even Java trees and so on, the skewers are amazing on Java trees, because Java trees are usually a bit slippery and it's
Yeah.
not comfortable for, like, they cannot really climb on it or hang on it. So hanging toys are really difficult to reach on such a slippery tree. So yeah, this is a really good thing to do, like drilling a hole and put a skewer on it so they can easily play with toys on play stands. Yeah, what more do I do? The green cheek conures, they are just always flying around in their whole room. They have a whole room, so yeah, I just try to switch up everything, make sure that toys are yeah, how do you say it,
Rotated.
like yeah, rotated. One day I put the toy there and the other day it's over there, and I try to get some foraging toys on the play stands.
So how do you like to set up foraging opportunities for your birds? Because I saw in the Trixie stand that you had a bunch of stuff on the bottom. So I'm assuming there's a bunch of stuff in there to forage through. And what types of foraging toys do your birds like best?
What do they love best? Right now, Pino really loves his foraging wheel. At first,
Ooh.
he got a little bit annoyed with it because he was like, "How does this work? I see the treat, but I cannot reach it." But right now, he understands it and he likes it. I also really love using pine cones that you can attach to the cage and then put seeds in there with Arabic gum. I don't know if you know Arabic gum.
No, I don't know
No?
this.
Oh, this is the biggest foraging tip ever. Arabic gum is a natural glue product that they can eat, and yeah, with that I make a lot of different toys. I always attach seeds to pine
Pine
cones.
cones?
Yeah, and yeah, just you can do so much with it. I also make little nutri-berries myself with the Arabic gum. So yeah,
Wow.
it's
And where do you
amazing.
buy this from?
Well, in the Netherlands, you can buy it in every Parrot store and web shop, actually. So,
Oh,
but
I
I
have to
feel
look
like
this up.
yeah, I feel like it's not really used abroad because I never see international bird people use it. But in the Netherlands, it's really, really famous. Yeah.
That is so interesting. See, I love this because every podcast episode, I learned something new.
Yeah, it's great, right?
And does this parrotbirdsupplies.com have this
Yeah, yeah,
gum?
definitely.
And
Yeah,
what is like, where is this from? It's a natural material, you said.
yeah. I don't remember exactly, but I thought it was from some kind of tree, Arabic gum tree.
Okay, I'm looking this up right now because I need to
Yeah,
know.
fact check me, please.
Gum arabic is a natural gum originally consisting of the hardened sap of two species of the acacia tree, the Senegalia senegal and Vachellia sayal. I can't read these words.
No.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. There's a bunch of information about how this is a natural product. Okay, so it's a natural product that consists of solid juice derived from the acacia species, and it's safe for parrots.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I need to get some
Yeah.
of this. Okay, I love it because Mia loves pine cones. She actually has pine cones on her stand
Oh
here.
yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
also have pine cone perches where they have like the screw on the end and I can put them in her cage. And I
Yeah,
always
exactly.
stuff in there like
Yeah.
seeds or like dried fruit or dried veggies or pieces of nuts. And she goes nuts
Yeah.
foraging in there. And she also loves to destroy the pine cones. So I need
Mm-hmm.
to get some of this stuff because it'll make
Yes.
everything stick a lot better.
Yeah.
But you said you make your own NutriBerries, and I love that. So tell me how you make your own NutriBerries.
Well, every time I make them differently, I have a whole stash of dried ingredients, and I always just grab random dried ingredients like dried flowers, dried mealworms, dried well, just any type of seeds, flaxseed, chia seeds, um, coriander seeds, just any type of seed. Sometimes, well, right now my conures are on pellets, so I just use their seed mix for NutriBerries. Well, I'm saying NutriBerry, but it's more like a treat how I give it to them.
Yeah, like a
I
treat
think,
berry.
yeah, I put them on the purchase with the skewer. I also put a hole in it so it can be on the skewer between the toys. So they really have to look
That
for it.
is so fun.
They love it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's it. This is going to be my next little fun thing that I do in the kitchen with Mia is make
You
our
should.
own little treat berries.
She will
So
so
you were
happy.
talking a little bit about the bird room, and I've seen your bird room on Instagram. I love it. Your bird room is awesome. So tell me a little bit about your bird room. Like, what inspired you? Does Pino also go in the bird room, or is it just the green cheeks? And what do you have in there? Like if someone's listening and they're like, I have birds, I want to create a bird room, I have an extra room in my home. What do I need to do? Maraya, please tell me.
Yeah, so yeah, my green cheek conures never had a cage because I was like, oh, that's so sad. And also it was difficult to catch them and put them in there. So I gave up when I was a student. And when I moved into this house, there was a room left over. So yeah, I decided to just let them have their own room. Um
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so the difficult thing about a room in a house is that you don't have the wires to put perches on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the biggest struggle. So I had to drill a lot of holes in the walls to put like ropes around the room. And eventually I decided to make my own, like I made a plank, a wooden plank, and I drilled a lot of I attached a lot of perches to the plank, and
I
then
saw this.
yeah, and then I hang up the plank. It's a lot of effort, but at least that's another way to give them a lot of perches and not just ropes. And
Yeah.
I also put a little perch in front of the window because they love looking out of the window. They're always on their perch. And yeah, eventually I decided to get, how do you call it, aviary panels in the room to create a little, I don't know the English word for it, but a little space. So you have a double door and they cannot escape easily. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like a little in
like
between
a
room.
sliding door.
Well, it's not a sliding door. They're all just opening doors, but just to make sure when my mom goes into their room, there's still a wall, so they cannot escape
Okay.
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it's kind of like netted.
yeah. It's a aviary panel, so it's like an
Yeah.
aviary material.
Yeah.
And because of this, there's also more opportunities for perches because it's really easy to attach the perches to this aviary panel.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also very helpful actually. The AVR panels were a great idea in a lot of ways because also my mom can feed the birds without the birds flying out of the room because I have a little thing so you can feed them from the outside of the
Yeah, like the
panels.
food dishes that turn out and then turn back
Yeah,
in.
exactly. So that's also yeah, just really perfect. And yeah,
And they have
so
lots of space in there too.
yeah, definitely. They can always fly. And also another great tip is using the little grids that you have on the bottom of the cage, you know.
Yeah.
Lots of people take them out of the cages because then the birds can walk on the bottom of the cage and search between their fallen food. And you can take that grid and yeah, drill it to the wall. And then you also have how you call it, like the wires to attach
Yeah.
perches to, so it makes it easier without having to drill too many.
But how do you
holes.
get your hand behind it once it's drilled on the wall to screw on the perches?
I drilled in a way that I can still take it off and put it back. So
Okay.
like with a little hook, actually.
I actually keep that on the bottom of Mia's cage. We have the same Montana's cage, so you know.
Oh, yeah.
I keep that there because everything falls to the bottom, her food, her poops, everything, and I don't want her walking all over that. So she likes to walk on the bottom too, but I keep that part there so that she's not walking in all of her poop.
Yeah, I understand. I really like that they can still forage for their things. And usually my birds don't ever get poop on their feet. So I don't know, they're very good at not getting into their own poop.
That's good. Speaking of poop, my whole chair is covered in poop.
Oh,
Mia pooped all over it today. I'm like, Mia, I don't have time to clean this. I'm gonna be sitting in a chair covered in poop. I've been meaning to buy one of those Amazon chair covers so I can just take it off and wash it, but somehow I haven't gotten to it yet, and my chair is always just covered in poop.
I know, it's the life of a parrot mom. It's a parrot podcast after all, so
yeah. So I'm glad that you brought this up because that's another thing with parrots is you just have to get used to poop being everywhere. I find poop on the couch, poop on the floor. My chair is always covered in poop. Sometimes there's poop on my clothes. Occasionally I might get poop in my hair, but actually Mia's pretty good. I don't know. She's like so polite. Like if she needs to poop and she's on me, she'll fly away, she'll poop and then she'll come back. Or if she's on my head, she'll fly away, poop, and come back. And I'm like, thank you.
That's so nice.
I know. Occasionally she does poop on my clothes, but not as often as she used to.
Yoshi is the exact opposite. It's like he flies to me just to poop and then flies away again. I swear. Oh.
They're so cheeky sometimes.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a green cheek conure thing.
Yeah. They just love to make you angry.
Yeah, sometimes they do when it depends on their moods because they also have different moods.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to your bird room. So you've got all these different ropes and all these different perches, and I think that's important for their foot health. You want to have a variety of perches and different materials and all these different things. And so what do you do for toys? Do you do any hanging toys or do you do the skewers and all the perches in their bird room as well?
I also have hanging toys, but usually on places where they can really easily reach them. So if there's a perch, I will put it right next to the perch on the wall. Yes, and also they have favorite spots in their rooms where if I hang a toy there, it will definitely be destroyed. And if I hang it somewhere else, they wouldn't touch it for years. So there's a few spots where they will always destroy the toys, and that's the parts where I focus on the most, to be honest. It's like 3 different parts in the room, so that's where I put most toys. And one of them is a hanging toy spot, and one of them is a skewer. I don't even know what the third place is. They usually destroy the 2 places the most: the skewers and the hanging toy next to the window. So
yeah, and I think that's something that happens over time. Like once you have a bird, over time you start to figure out where their favorite places are, what they like, what they don't like, even like what types of toys they like, what types of foods and like vegetables and pellets they like, and all these different things. So it's definitely like an individual bird thing. And I think that over time you get to know your bird and you know where to put things and what they like. For example, Mango, he really loved like wooden toys. So we would always get him wooden toys because he would destroy those and his beak was much stronger than Mia's. Whereas Mia, she likes really soft toys and she likes like the Planet Pleasures soft toys, the paper ones, or she really loves cork because that she can tear apart really easily. Yeah. Yeah. What other stores do you like to shop at in the Netherlands? For anybody who's, in the Netherlands and they're listening, or just in Europe with international shipping, I'm always curious, like what other parrot stores there are around the world.
Well, one of my favorite stores, well, it's not a store, it's my friend, my own little zoo. That's her name on Instagram.
Okay.
her name's Laura, Laura in English, and she has a lot of parrots that need medical help as well. She adopts them all, and she makes toys to be able to pay for the medical bills. And her toys are always the best toys. My birds love them always, and you can just tell her like, can you make me some toys for 50 euros? And then she will make a bunch of toys for the amount that you asked for, and then she'll send it to you. But I'm not sure if she can do it internationally, to be honest. Maybe Belgium and Germany are still okay, but I don't know if she can do it internationally.
Would she send to Poland?
You can ask her. You can try.
I will ask her.
Yeah, because she's amazing and she also deserves it. So I really love supporting her for that reason. And another store, it's a really big one. It's called Avonturia. It's just a very good web shop with a lot of bird supplies. They have everything. Especially cages are a good place to get cages in the Netherlands.
Is that where you got your Montana cage?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I also wanted to talk a little bit more about Yoshi and Winnie. So I know now that you got them separately. Mm-hmm. You got Yoshi first. Was that right? Yes. You got Yoshi and then you got Winnie, and they're both boys.
Yeah.
Boys. Okay. And so I want to know, when you brought Winnie home, what was Yoshi's reaction? And did you do a quarantine? And how did you get them to bond and get along with each other?
Yeah, so where do I start? So when I brought Winnie home, Yoshi's reaction was he was dominant. So he was really testing Winnie. So he was chasing him and plucking him a little bit, like just a little bit, like chasing him and grabbing his tail for fun and just see his reaction. And after a while, I don't know how suddenly it changed. Like Winnie just gave over, and then they started preening each other. And I think it was like 5 minutes of Yoshi chasing Winnie a little bit, and then it was love at first sight. So they were preening each other.
So on the first day that they met, they were like, okay, I like you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I didn't do a quarantine, but I already knew that Winnie was tested at the bird store. Okay. Right now, I wouldn't do it like this again, because at the bird store, there can be a lot of diseases. And even if they are tested at the store, they can still catch a disease in the meantime. Yeah. So right now, I would always quarantine a bird and get them tested again for all the diseases. But back then, I thought it was already safe enough. But luckily it was fine like this. I already tested all of my birds a few times and they're all healthy. But I would still always advise quarantine, even though they're tested for the diseases. You never know, like, when was their last moment they were in contact with another bird, and they can always catch a disease as long as they're in an environment with a lot of different birds.
Yeah, and the scary thing about these avian diseases is they can spread so quickly. Yeah. And birds like to hide their illness for as long as possible, as long as they possibly can, which is also really scary. And that's another good thing to know about birds, is you have to be so specific with like checking their poops and, you know, their diet and making sure they're healthy and going for regular avian vet checkups, because they hide it as much as possible. Yeah,
don't get me started. It's such... I'm always worried about them.
I'm trying to get you started.
Yes, I'm always worried about them.
So, I know. Yeah. I'm like a crazy bird mom. I'm like every day inspecting her poop. I told my husband I want to get a microscope.
Yes. Well, I think I'm at the avian vet every month, and I'm
really. Oh my gosh.
It's horrible. Yeah, it's a problem. It's not healthy.
So how often do you go for like a checkup to make sure that they're all good, they're all healthy? Do you do this monthly?
Well, I don't need yearly checkups because I go so often thinking something is wrong that they're always checked. So I usually go for a reason.
That sounds like a normal bird mom to me.
Yeah. I mean, I always have a reason why I'm going. Like one time Yoshi's always like making puking movements, and I'm like, oh, I should get this checked out. And sometimes there's not even something wrong. Well, most of the time there's nothing wrong. That's even the worst part. I always see things and then there's nothing wrong.
But that's a good
And
thing. It's better that you're being
yeah,
extra cautious and nothing is ever wrong than
that's
something
true.
being wrong,
That's
because
really true. And the scary thing is that most times when something was wrong, they had the least scary symptoms. Like sometimes I do something really scary and I'm like, oh my God, this is really bad. And then there's nothing wrong. And then sometimes I'm like, that's a little bit weird. Maybe I should get it checked. And then suddenly they have a crop infection or whatever. So yeah, you always have to be mindful. Okay,
yeah.
no, I don't want to scare anyone.
I know, but you know what? It's good. This is why we have
Yeah,
the podcast, is so that people can be aware that you have to pay
yeah,
attention to these things, and you also need to really get to know your bird and their
yeah,
personality, their behaviors, their sounds,
yeah.
also knowing when it's hormonal season and things like that, because when
Mm.
they're going through puberty, because you need to know when you need to go see a vet, because there's a lot of times where you have to act quickly.
Yeah, and also every bird is so different. Like for one bird, it can be a normal behavioral thing to always be yawning, but if another bird does it, it can really be a sign of sickness. So you really have to know what's a behavioral thing that your bird does, or if it's really something different than what he normally does.
Yeah.
Because yeah, for each bird, it can mean something different.
Yeah, every time I notice something with Mia where I'm like, is this normal? Is something going on that I'm not really sure? I'm like immediately messaging like every bird mom that I know. I'm messaging our avian vet. And of
Yeah,
course, every time I notice that something has happened, it's
yeah.
like the middle of the, not the middle of the night, but it's always like the evening when everything
Mhm.
is closed right before she's
Always,
going to bed, or it's on a
always,
Sunday. And in
always.
Poland, everything is closed on a Sunday.
Same.
Everything.
Yeah,
So I'm like, why? So it's always good to have like, an avian vet that you can like message, or there's a service that I found out about. It's called Vetster, and you can always book an appointment like at any time, pretty much any day. So at least you can have like an online consultation or something.
that's
But
really
yeah.
yeah, most of the issues I have are really things they want to check out in real life. So messaging wouldn't really help for most
Yeah.
cases, but at least they can, yeah, give your mind some rest. Or if it's really emergency, they can tell you how to handle it. But I never go for emergencies, so
Yeah, very good. I
yeah.
actually last week I also did a parrot first aid course. It
Oh,
was
nice.
done in Polish, so I
Oh,
have to
cool.
admit that I didn't retain everything, because I was like, what does that mean? What is this word? What is she saying?
Yeah,
But I understood quite a bit of it, and I did learn a lot of new things. So I think
nice.
that looking up some kind of parrot first aid
Yeah,
information is always good, so you know what to do in a
yeah.
situation like in case there's a blood feather, or they're throwing up or something like that, you know what to
Mm,
do. And it's also a good idea to have a parrot first aid kit at home,
yeah.
or at least like putting one together and finding out what are the different things that you should have at home in case of a situation. Like if there's bleeding, you want to make sure you have cornstarch, or I think it's
Yeah,
styptic powder, and
yeah.
all of these different things like saline solution. And if you need to administer medication, having the, what's it called?
Yeah, I don't know the name either, but I know what you mean. Like uh the
Syringe.
yeah, syringe, yeah.
Having like a syringe. And I also saw a video bird nerd Sophie posted not long ago about how you should do like voluntary medication training with your bird as well, just in case there's a
Yeah.
situation where you have to administer medication. They're already used to it, and a lot of
Yeah.
people like to use juice or something
Mhm.
that their bird really likes.
Yeah, it's really important because once your bird is sick and you realize that you didn't syringe train them and they really don't accept it, you're gonna have such a hard time. And it's also gonna can ruin your relationship with your bird a little bit. Like, well, usually they get over it after you're done with the medication, but yeah, they can not trust you for a while after such periods. Yeah.
Have you ever had to syringe any medication to your birds?
Yeah, to all of them actually. Yeah. And
Really?
I never trained them, so I know how difficult it is if you don't train them.
So it was
Yeah.
difficult without the training.
Yeah, definitely. Yoshi is also a really easy bird of mine. I can just grab him with my hand and just hold him and he will love it. So he doesn't mind. But he is scared. He was scared of the syringe, so he would keep his beak closed and there was no way to open his beak. No way. So that was really difficult when I had to give him medication. After that, I trained him on the syringe. So now he just eats it voluntarily. He even likes the taste of medication. So that's good.
That is good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that that's something that's really important. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because anybody that's
Yeah.
listening, if you haven't done like syringe training or even like handling your bird, another thing when you're going to the vet is making sure that your bird knows you've done the handling training or like towel training where they're wrapped in a towel so that when they go to the vet, they're not as stressed and scared by these types of things or when they're being held by somebody else so that it's not an overwhelming situation for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Lots of
We
different
love it.
types of training to
Yes.
do when you have a bird as well.
It's so much training.
I think we got a little bit off topic, which is good, but you were telling me about how Winnie and Yoshi
Oh,
bonded. So
true.
they bond.
That was a long time
That
ago.
was a long time ago. So they liked each other after Yoshi was done teasing Winnie, and then Winnie was like, listen, we're gonna be friends. And then
Yeah.
ever since then, they've been like bonded and really great with each other.
Yeah, sometimes they're a little bit like brothers or like married couple. Like they can have really big fights all of a sudden, and then suddenly they're like a few seconds after they're already treating each other again. So it's a very turbulent relationship, but they mostly love each other. And I really cannot take them apart from each other because Winnie will be so stressed out and he will keep calling for Yoshi. Like there's no way you can separate them. Yoshi doesn't mind as much, but Winnie is really attached to Yoshi. And
That's
yeah,
cute.
they're so attached to each other.
Probably because ever since you brought Winnie home, Winnie's just been with Yoshi, whereas before Yoshi was alone,
Yeah,
so it's a little bit easier for Yoshi.
I think so as well. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what do you do when they're having like a big fight? Like, do you intervene? How do you stop it? Or what do you do to ensure that they don't get hurt?
I usually, well, I can only do it when I'm there, of course, but I will just let Winnie step up to me because it's always Yoshi chasing Winnie. Yoshi is definitely the boss. And
Oh,
I always make
Yoshi.
sure, yeah, I always make sure that Winnie can come with me, and I will just like Yoshi will fly on me as well, and I will be like, no, no, and then they usually stop, or I can just grab Yoshi and just hold him, and yeah.
And how do the green cheeks get along with Pinot?
Not at all. Well, I'm too scared. I'm too paranoid, to be honest. I think it's mostly me why they don't get along because I don't really give them the opportunity to interact. But
Mhm.
I'm just so scared of them losing their toes or their beak.
Yeah.
And I tried it one time. I had Pino and Yoshi in a neutral space and I had them meet each other. But Yoshi was so aggressive. He kept chasing Winnie and pulling out feathers, like a lot of feathers.
Pulling
And
Pinot's feathers out or
yeah,
Winnie's?
a lot of Pino's feathers. And Pino was really scared because back then he wasn't that bonded to me yet. So he was so scared of Yoshi. And they are still like this. Like, I can sense that if they were able to, they would grab Pino. I mean, green
And
cheek
Pinot's
conures
the
are
bigger
assholes.
one.
Yeah, Pino, and that's the scary thing because if Pino is sick of them, he can just bite back, and then there's a big problem.
Yeah. Because
Like
Pinot is a lot bigger, but he also has a bigger and stronger beak.
exactly. So I don't want him to bite back, you know? I don't want,
Yeah.
and the Conures will definitely tease him until he has enough and then it will be over. So yeah, I really
Oh.
don't want them to interact, to be honest. And it's so interesting because when I didn't have birds yet, I always had this fantasy of having so many bird species and so many birds. But it's actually really difficult to mix different kind of species,
Yeah.
especially if you have two of them that are really bonded with each other. It's really difficult and it comes with big dangers, like they can lose their beak or their toes. from fights.
And I've seen so many pictures and videos on social media, even in the Parrot first aid course that I mentioned, we were looking at different pictures where there was beak injuries because a larger bird had bit their beak and there's like a hole and bleeding, or bit off a toe or two toes even. So you have to be so careful. And sometimes when you see like a picture of like a macaw and a sun conure cuddling, you're like, oh, that's so cute, but it's really not cute. Like when I see that, I'm like, I'm nervous because if that macaw just like all of a sudden snaps for whatever reason and beaks at that conure could die.
Yeah, I mean,
of the scale of size.
Yes, and our birds can even flip out on us, you know, so why not to another bird? So it's
yeah, absolutely. I totally understand you with that.
Yeah, so Pino lives downstairs and the conures live upstairs.
Okay. And so Pino has the Montana cage downstairs and the conures have their grand bird room.
Yeah.
I saw one of your posts where you were talking about Pinot and when you first got him, and you were talking about how you were intimidated to getting a bigger bird and having a bigger, stronger beak, and you were scared, like, is he going to bite me, and all of these different things. So I wanted to know a little bit about what is it like having a medium-sized parrot after having small parrots? Because I'm intimidated a little bit by bigger birds, I won't lie, especially with their beaks. And anytime I've seen a macaw, I'm like very slowly, and I'm like, oh, please don't bite me. You know, or like any type of like medium-sized bird, even like African grays or Amazons, because they can do a lot more damage. And I feel a lot more comfortable with smaller parrots because I've interacted with them for so long and so many different types. But tell me about that experience.
Well, I feel the exact same. To be honest, I'm scared of bigger birds, especially of other people, because a lot of birds are one person birds only, so they're only attached to one person and other people cannot get near them or touch them. So yeah, it makes sense that you should be a little bit cautious with other people's birds. But yeah, with Pino, I was really intimidated. I was like, oh my God, I have such a big bird in my house. Like, can I even do this? Can I handle this? But I think because I was uncomfortable with him and he was uncomfortable with me, we really respected each other's boundaries. Like, I didn't want to like cross his boundaries at all because I was so scared of getting bit. And I was so careful with him until I realized after a lot of months, like, I think he's not gonna bite me. Like, he's so sweet. And yeah, he's never bitten me. Like, Yoshi and Winnie can really bite me, but he doesn't bite me. So yeah, I'm not scared of him at all anymore.
And can you handle him? Like, can you, if you needed to like hold him or get him to step up or anything like that, is he comfortable with that?
Yeah, I can do a lot of things with him. I can even grab him with two hands. Like, I also had to give him medication for a while, and I could just grab him and hold him to my chest to give him the medication. So yeah, right now.
So over time, you've built that trust with him and you've bonded with him, and he feels really comfortable with you.
Yeah, and I must say he still gets aggressive sometimes, but the thing is, his body language is so clear that I already know immediately when he's pissed off, and I just don't get near him when he's pissed off, and then it's all fine. And I know when he's okay again. I know what I can do when he's pissed off without getting bit. So it's so.
And what are some things that a Pionus parrot does that you would be like, oh, I know he's angry? Like, what is his body language do?
It's mostly his neck feathers that go up, and he can also start making very angry sounds. He sounds like an angry grandpa. He's like, wah, 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 wah. I don't know. I can't do it, but he sounds like an angry grandpa when he's really angry. And that's usually when I have guests over in my house. He hates other people. He only likes me. So whenever there's a guest over, he immediately starts talking like an angry little grandpa. he's like, don't get near my cage.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Pino.
Yeah. He's so sweet to me, but not to other people.
How are the green cheeks when you have guests over?
They used to be very easy with people. Right now, when they're a little bit older, they first like to hang out like very high up and just watch the situation. And after a while, they will go down. And if you have treats, they will eventually come to you. It takes some time, but well, with Yoshi, it takes a lot of time. But Winnie, he is so food motivated and he's always so enthusiastic about everything. So yeah, he will come to you, definitely.
That's so cute. Mia's quite similar, I'd say, to your green cheeks.
Yeah.
Like if we have guests over, I will let her out because I want her to be socialized. I want her to be desensitized. And I want to be able to have people over and her feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But she will also be like up high in her ropes or at her station.
Yeah.
And then after a while, she'll fly to their shoulder and then she'll try to nibble their ear. And if someone doesn't have parrots, they're like, is she trying to bite me? And I'm like, she's just exploring. I know it feels weird, but I can remove her if you feel uncomfortable. But Mia was not like this in the beginning, but nowadays she doesn't like new people's hands and fingers. And she also had a big problem every time I changed my nail polish color. Every time I changed my nail color, she was like so angry with my hands. But after desensitizing for, so many times of getting my nails done, now she seems to be really okay with it. And the last couple of times I've changed my nails, she hasn't reacted, but I haven't had the opportunity to train her and desensitize her to other people's hands and nails or fingers because we don't have people over all of the time to do that, So she's fine as long as nobody tries to put their hands or fingers near her. Otherwise, she will try to bite. So I always have to warn people about that. Yeah.
That's same here. Well, Winnie, he will bite you if you put your hands in his face, but if you call him with a seed, he will fly to you. So you just shouldn't put your hands in his face, but he will come to you voluntarily. Pino will bite everyone.
But you know what? I think that it's important that when you are having guests and you have a flock at home, that you let them know, like, this is my bird's personality. This is what they're like. You need to respect them. This is their home. This is their environment. These are the boundaries. And birds also get scared very quickly, and new things and changes are scary to them. And sometimes as humans, we might not always understand that, but we need to be respectful of our birds' boundaries.
Yeah, birds have such amazing sight. They can spot every little detail in a room or on a person, and they immediately see a change.
Yeah,
something different.
Has Pino ever bitten you where you were like, ow, that really hurt or broke your skin?
Pino not. No, it's not. Pino has never, well, he only once broke my skin when I had to give him medication, and I actually put him in a towel, and he was really like, and just biting everywhere he could. Yeah, and then he bit my finger by accident. But after that, I realized it's easier to get him without a towel and just grab him with my bare hands and push him to my body.
Yeah. And oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. So I remember a few months ago, we were also chatting then because you had been posting in your story that some scam artist was using Pino's photos and your photos with Pino to try and scam people that they can buy this bird when they actually can't. So I wanted to bring some attention and awareness to this because we had been chatting about it. And at that time, I didn't have the podcast. And now that we have the podcast, let's chat a little bit about it so we can bring awareness to people that don't believe everything that you see online. Because there are a lot of people that will use people's Instagram photos or Facebook photos or TikTok videos. And they will tell you that you're getting this bird. They'll probably ask you for money when this is actually somebody else's bird. So what did you do in that situation to make sure that it stopped or that this person got reported or?
Yeah, well, I exposed him on my Instagram and just made sure that everyone reported him. And after a while, he disappeared from Facebook. But yeah, you cannot really do much because they can just make a new account and start again without you knowing it. It's really difficult to stay on top of it, and yeah, it's just really difficult to really handle such situation. All you can do is make sure they delete the pictures or their account or they are reported. But other than that, it's really difficult. And I feel like it especially happens a lot in America because I feel like a lot of people in the USA get their parrots online and transfer money without getting the bird yet. Like I don't think a lot of, well, I feel like it because that's how a lot of those scam artists act. And Pionus parrots are very rare in the USA. There are not a lot of breeders left. I think there is only one or even none of bronze-winged breeders in the USA. Thankfully, in the Netherlands, they're quite common lately. But in the USA, they're very rare. So I think that's why, they try to scam people with Pinot. Because people are desperate to get a Pionus and they will do anything and just get their birds online without even meeting them.
That's
so yeah,
crazy.
be careful with doing that. Always make sure you can meet the bird in real life.
Yeah. Very good tip. Always make sure that you can meet the bird. Never send anybody money before meeting the bird and seeing them in person.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of these scams out there, and I think that we need to be aware of that. How did you find out that this person was posting your pictures?
Well, actually, I'm in a Pionus Facebook group, and I just commented on someone's post, and then someone saw my profile picture, and they were like, "Oh, I recognize her," and they sent me a chat, and they were like, "You really look like this girl that a person sent me a picture. A person wanted to sell me a Pionus parrot, and the girl in the pictures looked exactly like you. Is it you?" And it's so like this person has really great sense of detail because it's crazy that she noticed me. So I was like, yes, those are my pictures. That's how I found out. So she just saw my profile picture, was like, she looks like this girl on the pictures. And I think she already knew that it was a scam. So she was really focused on finding me maybe. So that's how I found out. So there could be a lot more people using my pictures and I have no idea maybe.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
it also happened to the Conures. It was a Dutch scammer that used my pictures on the Craigslist to sell his own Conures, and he used my pictures because they looked cute and tame and cuddly to sell his own birds.
Oh my gosh. And to anybody
happened.
who's listening, if you're seeing bird pictures with another person, you need to also question, like, is that somebody's picture that they took? Or like, is it actually this person? Yeah, you need to be so cautious because you never know who you're dealing with. And there's so many scammers out there.
Yeah, the bird trade is awful. There was a case in the Netherlands this week and last week. There's a family free flying two green-winged macaws in the Netherlands, and one of them got caught by a thief, a criminal. I don't know.
I think I saw you posted this in your story.
Yeah.
How did they catch this macaw that was free flying?
With a net, apparently. So I think the macaws landed somewhere and they caught one of them with a net. And then they sold the bird to the Belgium bird market. No, they brought the bird to the Belgium bird market, and there a German man sold the bird. So this is crazy. Like,
oh my God, did they get their macaw back?
Yeah, but they had to pay 4,000 euros because they had like a finder's tip. So if someone could give them their macaw back, they would pay 4,000 euros. So unfortunately, they had to pay the thieves. And it really sucks because it can also mean that more people will steal free flight birds because they're like, oh, I get money if I return the bird, you know? So it's not a good.
Oh my gosh. That is such a nightmare. That is such a nightmare. How terrifying. Like, you have to be so careful if you free fly your birds and they are free flight trained, you have to be so careful. I've seen a lot of people in Australia and in the US use this. I don't know how popular it is elsewhere, but they have these GPS trackers that they put on their birds' tails. So I think that that is a really good thing to have, but also choosing a location where it's like open space and there's nobody, and you know that they're not going to fly a huge distance away. You need to be able to see your bird, because that's just terrifying.
But I think these birds were liberty, I think. Do you know this term, or is it Dutch? Oh, I think it's a Dutch term then. But we not only have free flight birds in the Netherlands, but also liberty birds. And liberty birds are people just put their bird outside and let them fly whatever they want, and they just expect their bird to come back home. And I don't really agree with this way, because it has a lot of dangers. Like, people can steal them, they can get lost. There's a lot that can happen. Like, they can also annoy people, like destroying their houses, their backyard. So I don't think it's a very social thing to do, and a thing with a lot of risk. So I would recommend free flight over liberty. But a lot of people do liberty, and it sounds beautiful to give your bird such a free life where they can just fly and do whatever they want outside, but it has a lot of risk, and it's not very social.
A lot of risk. There could be predator birds, like they could get spooked or scared of something and fly, and then you can't get them. You could lose them. They might chew on some like bark or some plants that are dangerous. Or, you know, cause them some kind of like sickness. Like, there is just way too many risks with that, and it's just not safe. If you want your bird to be flying more than just inside your home, I've seen people go to batting cages, because then you're in a netted area. Or if you have a backyard, you can set up a netted area. Like, there's just so many other things that you can do that's going to be safer, and you can provide your bird with that freedom. I've also heard of people going to like gymnasiums, like a gym somewhere, like at a school or something, like after hours, and asking if they can use it, because then you're in a closed space, you have the doors closed, and you can do recall training, flight training, and things like that. So finding a space that's bigger and more open, but where it's secure, I think is a much better solution.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds really beautiful to have your birds free like this, but it's too risky. And things like this happen, so your birds get stolen and sold on the bird market. And that's why I don't like the bird trade as well, because you never know where these birds are from.
My gosh, my heart breaks when I hear things like this.
I know, but there's a great community, and people are actually raising money for this family, because people don't like it. Well, they feel bad for them to have to pay 4,000 euros to get their own bird back. So I really love the bird community supporting each other so much.
Yeah. And I also love the bird community that we have on like social media as well. And I'm so glad that I got to meet you. And like, you always share like really great tips and stuff as well. And I really like to do that with my content as well, because then we're also like, as pet owners or parents, parents, we're sharing information on like bird care and diet and like tips, like fun little new things like the skewers and the perches, and making Nutriberries with this Arabic gum. So I just love it, because we're always like learning from each other as well, so that we can enhance our birds' well-being and their like enrichment and happiness in life. So we're going to wrap things up now. I'm going to ask you a couple of fun questions about your parrots. My first question is, if your parrots were to order takeout, what do you think they would order?
That's difficult, because my birds have never gotten any human food. So I think
they don't eat like vegetables, fruit,
I mean,
rice.
They do eat vegetables and everything, but they don't eat like human meals. Like, like there are some people that let their birds eat their human food, like with salt and everything. I don't do this. So but what would they order? I think pine nuts and walnuts.
I think Mia would want to order like chicken fried rice, Chinese food, but without all the soy sauce and all those things. Just rice, just healthy vegetables like some carrot, red pepper, peas, maybe some chicken, but definitely egg. She loves egg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here it's definitely walnuts and pine nuts.
Yeah, those are actually Mia's favorite treats. She's a walnut like monster.
Yeah.
She goes crazy for walnuts. Those are probably her favorite. And she
Yeah.
loves pine nuts too.
Yeah, I understand. It's really nice. And it's soft. It's nice.
Yeah. And actually pine nuts are like the perfect treat size because walnuts, I'm always breaking them, but pine nuts, they're like just perfect. The perfect size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do your parents have a favorite genre of music? What
Actually,
do they like to listen to?
I've never been able to discover a preference in music. Yoshi and Vinny don't really react to music at all. Pino loves all music. He will always scream along with music. There's one song that I randomly found, and it's called I Heard Somebody Whistle, and I don't like the song, but Pino loves it. And when the person in the song, he starts to whistle, so Pino whistles along. Yeah.
That's cute.
I don't know. they love
I've discovered loves Christmas music, but specifically the Michael Bublé album. She like immediately calms down, goes to sleep, her eyes start closing. Sometimes she chirps along, and I'm like, you are so adorable.
Oh, that's so adorable. Yeah.
She also loves country music, but that might be because I love country music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I listen to a lot of different genres, and I don't really notice a difference with their reaction.
If they had a rock band, what instrument would each of them play?
Yoshi, no, wait, who would play the drums? Yoshi and Vinny are both like always doing this with their heads. But I think it's mostly Yoshi. Yeah, Yoshi would be the drummer. Pino, he would be the vocal artist, the singer. Yeah. And Vinny would be the bass guitar.
I knew it. Okay, since Christmas is around the corner, I'm going to ask some Christmas stuff, especially since you have your Christmas tree. If your parents had a Christmas wish list, what do you think would be at the top of each of your birds' list?
Oh, interesting.
A lifetime supply of walnuts.
Yeah, probably. I think, yeah, Pino, it's always food, isn't it? Like, I'm thinking about something more interesting than food. But I think it's food. Yeah.
So which food would be Yoshi's? Which food would be Winnie's and Pino's?
I think Yoshi would, pine nuts. Vinny also pine nuts, and Pino walnuts. Yeah.
Okay. So now we know what they're getting for Christmas.
Yeah.
If your parents were in a Christmas movie, what type of Christmas movie do you think they would be in? Something romantic, something
I think something like Home Alone.
Sorry?
Something like Home Alone. Yeah.
Okay, one more. If you set up a mistletoe for festive beak smooches, who do you think would be the lucky bird?
Vinny loves kissing the most. Yeah. Vinny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Winnie would be giving everybody kisses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Parrot podcast. I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to chat about all these different topics. Let everybody know how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, my Instagram is Yoshi_GCC. Yeah, that's it.
Are you on any other social media platforms or just Instagram?
Just Instagram. Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra from Poodles and Parrots, and we'll see you in the next episode. Have a colossum day and a colossum week. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I am not a licensed avian vet, behaviorist, or professional expert in parrots. The information provided is not intended as a substitute for professional advice from a qualified avian vet, trainer, or behaviorist. Consult with a specialist for personalized guidance on your specific situation.